This episode is sponsored by Isle of Man TT3 Ride on the Edge. The game is available on Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch and Steam. Now you're never going to catch me riding the Isle of Man TT, although I cannot stop playing this game. If you would like to do the same, go check out the link in the description below. Now kick back, relax and enjoy this episode. Today I have the fastest road racer in the world with me.
That's on the bottom of my email. International road racer. I've got Northwest next week, then I've got a BSB at Donington, and then I go to the TTs. £1 a week until I had 50 quid and went and bought an AR50 and a wheelbarrow. From never riding a bike to a British Superbike in 5 years. An 04, 05 Kawasaki ZX10.
Widowmakers.
I said, oh, it goes like left here, it goes right there, there's a jump. And he was like, oh, you've done some laps. I was like, no, it's my first ever lap. But I remember from playing on the PlayStation, I didn't have a car, I didn't have a van. I was living in the motorhome that I didn't even own. Yeah. I did 129.1 mile an hour, which until last year when Glenn beat it was the fastest ever newcomer lap. Yeah. Beat Shaky by a couple of seconds.
Throw that
I literally and come ride for us for the year. That's what you're going to get, plus bonuses, and you can keep all your sponsorship.
I'm going.
He was like, you got something to tell us, and I was like, yeah, I'm doing the Isle of Man. And my career went from doing that to doing that. The only way of describing Isle of Man TT is unbelievable. That is the only word that comes close, and that doesn't do it justice.
Boom, Danny Buchan, what a ride this is, and it is on!
Hello guys, I just wanted to give you all a heads up that there was some minor audio issues with the second half of today's show that you may notice, but we didn't want you to miss out on Peter's great story, so sit back and enjoy the show, and audio quality will resume as usual from next week. Please don't hate us for it. All the best.
Hello guys and welcome to episode 16 of Pushing the Limit podcast with me, Danny Buchan. Today I have the fastest road racer in the world with me. That's good, isn't it? Because if you was the second fastest, that'd be embarrassing, wouldn't it?
It would be a little bit.
You wouldn't say, would you? not just that though, but BSB racer.
I tried to be.
International road racer. Is that?
That's on the bottom of my email. International road racer. It always makes me smile.
International rock star. But no, it is actually classed international because obviously Macau, like obviously the TT is not classed an international road race, is it?
Yeah, it is.
It is? Oh,
yeah. So Northwest TT, or even Ulster Grand Prix, Macau. Obviously, I've done a tiny bit of World Superbike, a couple of rounds. World Endurance,
done
Suzuka,
it all, mate.
Slovakia,
just ticking boxes.
Le Mans.
yeah. Keep going.
Keep going. Yeah, New Zealand, racing New Zealand.
Yeah.
Done that. I did the International Classic in Phillip Island.
And didn't you do this? What's the Goodwood revival?
Oh,
Tick that, done that.
That's definitely an
I
international
really
event.
I want an invite to that. I want to dress up in that old clobber. Hopefully the podcast does really well.
I reckon you do all right in old clobber as well.
Hopefully they begin to know who I am with the podcast, and then because they won't know me from racing.
I'll have to get you an invite.
Yeah, all right.
Pull
some strings. But how are you though, mate?
I'm good actually, thanks.
Obviously we're here at Old
I'm
Park.
better than you.
I know. Yeah, you are. Yeah, yeah. I'm a little bit more broken than you are.
Slightly.
But Holton Park, set round 2 at the minute. Obviously you've had a really good day today. Free practice one was really good, weren't it for you? I had a little look.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Bit different to Silverstone.
Yeah,
Silverstone was horrendous as it was for you in the end.
But Silverstone is one of them tracks where you like just get through the weekend, score as many points as you can for us anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you kind of leave it and go, now the championship starts.
That's basically how I always look at Silverstone.
Isn't it? Like, a lot of people do, isn't it? Like it's like you can't read too much into it. I guess if you had a good weekend, you could probably take some confidence from there on. But
what's been interesting, I think, over the years is generally the people who've been at the front, not everyone, but generally the people who've been at the front and have won, have done naff all the rest of the year. It's been really an unusual track for whatever reason, but it's just I don't know what you actually think of the track, but I fucking hate it.
Do you know what? I enjoyed riding it this year. I don't enjoy the racing side of it because there's not a lot of time to be made. You all brake in the same place. You all accelerate in the same place. If your bike's fast and stops well, you genuinely go all right there. So it's kind of like, for me, it's a bit nothing in. It's all right racing around there, but for me, you get to the real rider circuits, I would call them, like here, Cadwell, Knockhill, well, not even Knockhill, but like all the bigger circuits brands.
Yeah. Proper
and they're
circuits.
just mega, aren't they?
I think the bit that annoys me the most is at Silverstone there is a mega track.
I know.
And we're not allowed to ride on it.
Yeah.
And I think that pisses me off more than the fact we have to do the giant little track. But
But now, so obviously, do you just take each race as it comes and
Pretty
then
much.
go Right, Alton. Because what's after Alton? What's the schedule like for you with the Northwest?
Yeah, so right now, like even today, people say, "Oh, you're looking forward to TT," and I'm like, I haven't even thought about TT yet, and it's actually not that far away. It's like 30 something days away. But in between then, I have BSB this weekend at Ulm Park. I've got Northwest next week. Then I've got a BSB at Donington, and then I go to the TT. So for me, I just think whatever is happening right now, that's what I'm concentrating on. So right at this moment, it's Alton Park BSB, and that's all I'm going to think about.
FP3 tomorrow.
FP3 tomorrow, and then once Monday's done, I'll start thinking about the Northwest. And then once Northwest's done, I'll start thinking about Donington. And once that's done, I'll start thinking about TT.
When you're on the practice, ready to go out for practice, you're like, right, TT, okay. So I'm just full gas all the way down here.
Pretty much.
Right, full gas all the way down there.
A bit like when we
right.
went in 2013.
Oh, don't. I know, that was funny.
Hey, that's where it all stemmed from.
I know, because actually in that year, so talking about the TT, because that was actually a really, really weird scenario, wasn't it? I was just there on a real mad, loose one, weren't I? Just getting smashed up. And then you become designated driver because you were staying on Dave Tyson's sofa, weren't it? It was proper funny, weren't it? And then you weren't drinking, were you?
No, I didn't drink.
And then we literally, one day, you was like, do you want to go and do a lap? And I was like, yeah, all right then. What am I going to ride? And your mate would give you the Honda, didn't he? I blagged Dave's SV650 type thing. I don't know how fast that thing even went, mate. I actually had a helmet, didn't I? Gloves. I don't even have a pair of boots on. I just had trainers. So I'm not saying it's a good thing to do, guys. All right, it ain't. And then we literally went round, didn't we?
It was awesome. Yeah, we went pick my mate's Thou up from down at Bushy's on the seafront,
mate.
Joined up back in the paddock, and off we went. Did a full lap.
No, because we got to the bottom of the mountain and got called off because of the track was closing, weren't it?
Yeah.
And then there was an incident, and we were stuck there till really late at night, weren't we?
Freezing.
Cold, and we just rode back, didn't we? Like,
and my mate wanted his bike back, and he's like, "Where are you?" I'm like, "Well, I haven't crashed. We're all good."
Mate, literally, you was just like, right, you was like, I know where I'm going. This is literally it as well. I know where I'm going. Just stay with me. And I was like, how do you know where I'm going? Oh, I've done it loads on the PlayStation.
It's
so
true,
it sounds
though.
really safe, mate. Yeah. And we was pushing on a bit, weren't we?
It was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was mega, and there was. Oh, mate.
That was what planted the seed into going, do you know what? If I actually put my mind to this, I could be quite good because I already knew where I was
You knew where you was going.
Pretty much. I knew where I was going just from playing the PlayStation as a kid.
It's mad because I was going to say, because your dad had a really successful career, didn't he? In motorbike racing as a whole.
Yep.
But especially at the TT.
So he won at the Manx Grand Prix. So
would you have been alive then?
No, that was in the 70s. I'm not that old.
No.
I know I'm older than you.
I didn't know if it was the 80s or the 70s. Could have been 60s.
It could have been.
So your dad had a real, the house, did his dad race or anything?
No.
So it was literally your dad's first line of motorbike racer.
So my granddad didn't race, but he rode bikes. Yeah. So I think that the thing, it was in the blood already. Bikes, if bikes are in your blood, they're in your blood.
You
That's
can't get
it.
out.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do about it. So my granddad did ride bikes. He was in the army, and then when my dad was a kid, he decided to buy a bike, and his dad wouldn't help him, so he just did it all himself. And then he was out riding on the road, found he was beating all of his mates all the time. Whenever they went anywhere, he'd get there first and have to wait for them. And then one of his mates said, "Look, you're too fast for the road. Why don't you start racing?"
That's mad, isn't
and
it?
he'd never even thought about it and thought, all right, I'll have a go. And then he actually came here. I think here at Alton Park was his first ever time on track, and he did I think it was Graham Stewart. If you remember, 125 world champion Graham Stewart, he did like a race school. So he basically taught my dad on the first time he ever went on track. And
was your dad Lincolnshire's, or was he Louth?
No, all Midlands.
Okay,
I was born Burton on Trent, so my dad's all from Burton on Trent area, so it was all Midlands based.
Yeah.
So he raced himself, and then after his career finished, he then was development engineer, mechanic for loads of different teams, Rotary Nortons, Ian McConaughey and Grand Prix. So I grew up around that era. So I grew up in the paddock a little bit.
You had no choice. He was racing
pretty
bikes,
much. Yeah, although my dad wouldn't let me have a bike, so he would not let me have a bike. So he pushed me. I bought my own.
Did you?
Yeah.
What, and rode on the road? I've done your bike license?
No,
or straight track?
I was actually only 12 when I bought my first bike. I saved me pocket money up for a year.
Your dad, give me that $5.
Yeah. I got £1 a week.
Son, I ain't seen you spending that money. There ain't no action men around here.
Yeah, £1 a week until I had 50 quid and went and bought an AR-50 and a wheelbarrow.
Yeah, here's my bike. Yeah.
And hit it around the back of the house. That's how it all started.
Genuinely, yeah. It was in a wheelbarrow, so was it actually a complete bike? Did you have to put it together?
I had to put it together.
Yeah.
And I could not put it together.
No. Sounds like me now, that does. Yeah. Absolutely hopeless.
Yeah, but then since that point, he's been there ever since. I think he figured that if I was going to do it anyway, then he needs to help me and show me the right direction rather than making all the mistakes that he had to make, because no one showed him. So he made all the mistakes and learnt from them, as most of us do along the way. And I was super lucky that he actually helped me right from the start. And I went from never riding a bike to a British Superbike in 5 years, which is pretty much unheard of. So at 12 years old, I didn't even know what a clutch was or how to change a gear. And when I was 17, I rode a British Superbike.
Because you was
on a track.
youngest. You was youngest at the time, was you?
Yeah, I actually didn't race it until the following year. So I was 18 when I raced. But I actually rode for the first time a Superbike when I was 17.
It's mad because I sit here and all the podcast guests, we all have this like common thing where we obviously ride bikes, and I just sit here as a parent just thinking, fucking hell, I hope Brody don't race bikes. I hope he's not building bikes in the garage, and I think I'm going to just start going golf. We need to go golf properly because I need him to be in something else. I don't want to go racing.
Would you want your kids to
do you know what? I love
riding?
racing, and I'm so thankful for the life, like the way that the structure, the discipline, how it makes me feel,
the travel,
the competitiveness, the travel.
Yeah.
You know, obviously everyone thinks about the broken bones and the concussions being a bad part of it. That's a small part of it. The rest of it is like, I could have been out doing drugs and doing the girl thing, but I had that focus of racing. And I look at that part and I think I really want him to be in something. But then the other part of it, being a parent, watching him go around, I don't know if I could do it. Genuinely,
has he ridden anything yet? How
No,
old
he
is
doesn't.
now?
Right now, he's 2. Yeah, he doesn't.
2.
He just smashes his golf ball around the kitchen, which is great. So hopefully, but he plays it like hockey. So
have you got him a Strider or anything?
yeah,
like
he's
that
got
yet?
little bikes. Yeah, and he does have a little plod about.
It won't be long.
But
will
I
it?
just look and I just think, no, we're not going racing. I can't do. Steph's like, I'm not doing another 20 years of motorbike racing. She's only done 10 years with me, or like 9 years, yeah. And that's
enough,
mate. But it isn't. It's mad, isn't it?
It is, but I think you're right in saying like the social side of it, the development that you get as a person, you can get from racing. I don't think you can necessarily get it normally in real life.
Even talking to people, how you talk to people.
Literally how to talk to people and being a grown up, I guess.
Yeah.
Really, it kind of makes you more grown up straight away. And the bit of traveling, you get to see different areas, different places. Even if you're traveling just from the UK Championship side of things, it's.
Bonnie, Scotland.
Yeah, exactly. It gets you into all these places that you probably wouldn't do if you weren't doing this sport.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure, obviously, there are other sports that you could be doing, and I think it's probably sport as a general helps with the same sort of things, but bike racing definitely has something different over everything else.
How are you away from the track? Because I'm like really like ADHD brain. Like I'm really like when I'm busy. It's when I'm like
I'd never believe that.
When I'm busy, it's good for me because like the busier I get, the happier it makes me. You know what I mean? It's really weird, but like the busier I am, the better I sort of perform. Like what you like, obviously you're into your business anyway. You've got other things going on, haven't you, outside of racing? Is that
pretty
something? Are you like ADHD as well? But
yeah, maybe I've never been diagnosed with it, but maybe that's what it is. Yeah, I mean, I don't like to do nothing.
Yeah,
I like to actually crack on and do stuff. I run my own business, so Performance Centre, the PHR Performance Centre. I've got Avali UK, so all the kids stuff.
The building of the bikes?
No,
that's
you're
good.
Right.
Yeah, that's good.
Everyone's
didn't want to scare everyone. Then.
Yeah. I've got people who can do that for me. Yeah, I've got the kids Avali stuff. Yeah, that we import and run
not
kids
just
championship.
Kids?
Not just kids, adults as well.
Like
Adults as well. Yeah, we've not got you on one yet.
No,
but
I
we
want
will
to see
do.
you on one because you're big. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I can ride them.
I had a go. I think I had a little go on Gintoli, lent Jake one.
Yeah.
And had a little go, and I was like, this thing is trying to kill me every single
That was the
corner.
little 10-inch. That was a small bike.
The new one looked mega.
Yeah, the 12-inch bike's a little bit more easier for tall riders like us. But yeah, I have them going on. I obviously do all my own merchandise and stuff as well. I've got a couple of properties I rent out. I've got all sorts going on.
Yeah, but I think that's something again that racing teaches you. Like, no one is standing still in the paddock. Like other riders, other team owners or sponsors, and it's an inspirational place to be in it. Like when you're
100%.
here, it's inspiring, isn't it? Whether you want a house in the country and do nothing, or whether you want to be busy with business, it's like an inspiring place. And everyone comes from such different
backgrounds.
You have billionaire businessmen or multi-millionaire businessmen. You have people from council estates. You have people
everything.
who hairdressers. You have every single occupation,
walks of life. Yeah,
and they
here.
all love racing.
Yeah.
It's like in the normal world, you probably wouldn't talk to them because you don't have that thing in common. But when you go motorbike racing, it's
one big family, isn't it?
Yeah, it's mental, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. And there's not normally there's always people you don't get on with or don't or dislike or whatever, but I don't think there's that much of it in bike racing. I really don't. Like, even between all of our big top teams, you know, my team at FHO have helped Taz out with certain things when they've needed it. Taz have helped our team out.
You all get muck in,
and yet we're complete rivals. You know,
Yeah.
we're actually here to make sure we
I'm not
beat
talking
each
to you
other.
now. Gonna get up.
Get out.
Yeah.
But like we all help.
No,
you know,
yeah,
if someone needs help, we just help them. I think
Yeah.
that's a bike thing more than anything else because I don't think that happens in car racing.
No. And let's rewind. Sorry, let's go back to so you were 17 years old. Was it the Hawk bike you got? The
Yeah, it
chance to
was.
ride?
Yeah, I actually rode it. Darley Moor was the first place I ever rode a
Ooh,
British
that would've-
Superbike, which was fucking fast.
Mate. And then it would have had all the traction.
No, it had no traction
So
control.
that one didn't.
Anything.
No,
No,
okay.
because it was a little bit before it. So the big teams at the time were just starting to get the kind of proper electronics involved.
I wish we had them now. That was so sick, wasn't it?
And I we didn't at the time, but yeah. So I rode. It was an 0405 Kawasaki ZX10.
Widowmakers.
So the
mate.
Widowmaker. I was 17.
Yeah.
And I rode at Darley for the first time, and then I raced it in 2006. So yeah, over 0405 I rode it for the first time, and in 06 I actually raced it in BSB. So I had Glenn Richards' bike from the year before.
Mega, yeah.
And back then he had 2 bikes as well. So there was my teammates were Dean Thomas, Australian, Craig Coxall, who's another Australian, and then myself. They had the new bikes. They had the 06 bike, which was a bit of a shed, to be quite honest. Wasn't a good bike at all. And I had Glenn Richards' bikes from the year before. So we had 3 garages and 2 bikes in each garage. It was a mental time back then.
Mad,
Every
isn't it?
team had 2 articulated lorries plus a hospitality.
Just
it was
cash sat around.
Yeah, it was just it's different to how it
Yeah.
is now. And I mean, we're only talking just over 20, well, not quite 20 years ago, but yeah, it was just a different time, really. Like I remember riding, I crashed, I think it was at Silverstone. I crashed at Silverstone or something on the other international track that doesn't even exist anymore. And then ran back to the garage, jumped on the spare bike and carry on.
Imagine
Like,
that now.
You just don't do it now.
Now
It's
you
really,
go,
yeah.
bollocks, I've crashed.
Yeah, that's it. Session
Marshals,
over.
come on, get the bike back. Let's see what the damage is.
It's different. It was a really different time. But
Do you remember seeing the bikes, like 2 bikes, and being like, wow? Because I ask my guests that as well every time. Like, do you remember like the first time? Because no matter which bike, like you'd have had it this year with your new bike. Like every bike you go, it's like, come on, that's my new
It's
bike.
like Christmas, isn't it? All over again.
And
yeah.
it never gets boring, does it? Whatever bike you ride, it's like, this is mega, like new brakes, new handlebars, I can't wait to get on it.
And especially for that, I was a young kid then.
That's what I mean,
and
even
I had
more
2
so.
full British Superbikes sat there just for me.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it was mad, really. That I was super lucky that I got that opportunity, and obviously Stuart Hickman at Hawk gave me that opportunity. I have loads of people to thank. There's like my dad's obviously a massive part of it. A guy called Martin Sleaford helped pay for that ride at the time. There's so many people that have been
instrumental for the careers,
massively,
isn't it? Yeah.
massively. Like, and there's too many to list. Like, literally, there's too many people to list. But they all know who they are, and I've thanked them all individually and as many times as I could do since.
Right,
but
mate, you again. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember kind of walking into the first round and just going, "Wow,
Why am I here?
Yeah, like this is big time."
Did you have that moment where you like the biggest moment for me was when I saw my name above the garage board and I was just like, shit, I've made it. But then it was kind of like at the last sort of like 6-7 years in BSB, obviously like your garage order is where you are in the championship. So the further you get up, obviously you deserve your place further up the garage order, don't you? Yeah. And I remember like going up and being like, fucking hell, garage 5 now, I'm 5th in the championship or whatever. It's, oh my god, and it's weird, isn't it? But do you remember that feeling?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, and it's changed a bit for this year, so it's done on teams this year, not
so
rider
team
position.
Championship.
It's a team championship, so they've created a team championship now.
You obviously read the final instructions, mate, 'cause I don't.
No, I just got told it.
Okay.
I never read instructions ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what's happening. Yeah. So.
And when did I first meet you then? Because obviously we first met on the track day in 2007, wasn't it, or 8? You was riding a stock Yamaha at that point, but you had you rocked up on that road bike,
and you were on an R6 at 14 years of age.
Yeah, no, I was on a Aprilia, weren't I?
Spanned yourself.
Yeah. That don't sound like me.
7 or 8 or something.
Funny backstory behind that, weren't it? So we started racing. I'll tell the backstory, but we started racing. I think we did the last 2 rounds of 07 with Aprilia's Super Teens, and this is just a rough picture of my dad. The year before that, we went to Spain, and we tried to go on a track day. Yeah, and we rocked up with our Aprilia Super Team bikes. And he goes down Cottahane and he's got his wallet. I can see him. He's like, right, mate, where do we sign on? And the mate's like, pardon? He's like, where do we sign on? He's like, what do you mean? He's like, track day. My son's bike's in the back. We're going to ride. And it's a Porsche track day, yeah? He's like, no, you can't. Right, this is shit. We'll go to the next track. So we did that. Anyway, Dad was so sick of trying to get us on a track day that he just said, fuck it, I'm going to hire Almeria for a week. Mate, he lost 20 grand in the overall thing because there was literally, weren't there, 7 bikes?
Yeah, I'm going to say there was about 8 of us,
Yeah, but I think, thinking back to it now, I think so many people dropped out last minute because they never thought this was going to happen. Because this man's rocked up on the scene, he's hired a track for 5 days, and he just said, yeah, it's open pit lane, when the Super Team bikes are out, obviously we're a bit more careful, and it weren't a lot of money. And people must have thought this ain't going to ever happen, is it? But you was there, weren't you?
Yeah,
Veezy was there.
Yeah, Veezy was
there.
there.
You had big Mark or whatever his name was, the team boss.
Mark Quelch.
Yeah, top geezer.
Yeah.
Andy Reid. It's the first time he ever rode a Super Team bike. Was then?
Was it
that
really?
day, the first time. Yeah.
Was it?
That was his first
no
ever
idea
road
that.
right time on a road bike,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is really funny.
Kingsley Ruddy was there as well.
Kingsley
wasn't
Ruddy
he?
was there. There was a few others, weren't there? And it was like 7 of us, weren't it? And it was like open pit lane. By day 3 of them, I was like, bollocks, mate, don't ride. Leon Hunt.
Yeah, Leon Hunt was there. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, that's funny, isn't it? And that's the first time I met you. And then obviously,
was.
as the time's gone on.
And I don't know how I ended up on your track day.
No,
but
I don't know either. Like how you even got in contact,
I have
or
no
how
idea.
Mark would have done.
But it did, yeah.
Maybe through Leon, I don't know.
Yeah,
but I
maybe.
wouldn't have known any of you guys then, because I had literally done 2 MRO rounds on a
And then
Priya.
hide your own track.
And then hired Almeria. And it was
As
like,
you do.
Do you know where I think it come from? Andy Weymouth. Because we
Yeah,
sponsored
Andy,
Andy.
yeah.
Dad sponsored Andy Weymouth that
Yeah.
year. So maybe through Andy.
I like
But-
Andy. Good guy.
Anyway, so let's go. I want to talk to you about the TT because, mate, obviously for me it's eye-opening the fact that you go and do it. So that is quite funny. So you actually thought that year that we'd done it. I'm just going to go and do it. I know where I'm going.
Yeah, I mean, I went in 13 just to go and spectate the first time as an adult, and I had no idea where I was going. I didn't know what was
You
happening.
did just kind of rock up, didn't you, and flow
Oh,
in.
mate, honestly, the day before I flew, I booked the flight.
And you slept on the sofa, didn't you, at Dave's house?
So I booked the flight. I had a rucksack with me,
Yeah.
and that was it. I got to the airport in Liverpool, got on the plane, and actually, Chris and Sue, who I borrowed the Fireblade off, they were sat behind me. So I got on the plane, and then he tapped me on the shoulder, and he goes, "The fuck are you doing on the plane?" And I was like, "Oh, Chris, I've not seen you for so long." Like, he used to sponsor a couple of guys in the paddock, and he's sponsored me since. And he was like, "Oh, yeah, we always come to the Isle of Man. My bike's over. It's been shipped over. I'm flying in." And I was like, he was like, "Where are you going?" I went, "Absolutely no idea."
Not a
I was
clue.
like, "I don't even know how I'm getting from the airport to the paddock. I don't know where the paddock is. Like, I've literally, all I've done is book a flight. That's it. I don't know anything else." So he was like, "Oh, well, we've got a taxi. We're in Kirkmichael. Just jump in our taxi." So that's what happened. Come off the plane, jumped in their taxi, went down to Kirkmichael. And then he paid the taxi driver. He goes, "Where do you want to go?" And I was like, "I'm just going to go to the paddock." He paid the taxi driver. He went, "I'll just take him to the paddock and we'll catch up later." So I was like, "Okay, mint, thank you very much." Jumped in the thing, got to the paddock, jumped out, shut the door on that, and then Dave O'Johnson was just pulling out in his car to go and do a lap, and he wound the window down. He was like, "Icky, what are you doing
Was I
here?"
with him in that car then? Was
I don't think you were. It was a BM, yeah, it was a 3 Series BM.
Was you in the front?
Yeah, I
Because
went
I was
in
in
the
the
front.
back, I'm
Were
sure.
you definitely
and
in the
we
back?
was going down the road section, full like 120 mile an hour, and round the mountain section.
Yeah.
I was in the back.
Maybe
of that
that
car.
was how it was then, because he was like, he wound the window down.
Yeah.
I was like, "What are you doing here?" I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, I've just come for a little look round." Like,
Yeah.
he goes, "I'm off for a lap, jump in." So I literally chucked my bag in, and I can't remember you being in the back.
Series.
Yeah,
I remember.
It was a
I don't know
silver
if it was you, but I was in the back. I can't remember who was the passenger. Dave, I was driving, and we was flogging it, mate. And there was bikes coming past us still, and I was like, "Is this legal?" And he was like, "Yeah, mate. There's no rules type thing on the mountain course.
Yeah,
They
just
opened it
crack
one
on."
way, and there was literally like we got to one part, and it was like, "Oh, stop the car." A bike had literally slid off the side of the mountain.
Ah,
And the
so
guy
that was a different lap to me
so
then.
the
Yeah.
guy was stood there like this, and his bike had gone off the side. One of the corners, one of the lefts. His bike had gone off. You could just see the scrape mark, and he'd obviously stopped himself from going over the side, and he was literally there, like. And you just like,
Just stood at
yeah,
the
and
side
he
of the
stood
road.
like that. He's like, "Oh yeah, I fucked up, and I." "Oh well, yeah, mate, you just nearly killed yourself." But
They're
anyway,
mad
so
though, aren't
yeah,
they? So I did a lap with him, and then halfway through the lap, he was like, I said, "Oh, it goes like left here, and it goes right there. There's a jump," and he was like, "Oh, you've done some laps." I was like, "No, it's my first ever lap," but I remember from playing on the PlayStation, and then that was probably the seed that kind of like was planted. And then obviously we did some laps on bikes over the couple of days. I ended up staying in Dave Tyson's house.
On that sofa,
you were in the bedroom. You had a bed. So
Yeah.
obviously you were riding for Dave at the time. I think
Dave
that.
just said, "Come over, I'll put you up in a bed," and then he's like, "I've got a house here," and I think he had it booked for a sponsor that didn't show up.
That was it.
So
it was
then
something
there
like
was
that.
there was me, you, and Tom, weren't there? In the
Yeah,
end?
so I slept on the sofa because I was
Yeah.
like, "Man, I'm just gonna."
Yeah, that's sweet, mate.
That was in
Crack on.
Crosby, wasn't it? Do you
Yeah,
remember? It was
yeah.
right near the pub.
Yeah,
So we just obviously stayed there because I didn't have anywhere to stay because obviously I didn't book it.
yeah.
And then I did some laps and enjoyed it, loved it, thought it was unreal. Didn't really think too much else about it, but the end of that year in 13.
I was about to say, did that?
Yeah, at the
Yeah.
end of the year, I was struggling to get a ride. I needed a big load of money, and
Why though? What happened in 13? Because you had a
I
good
finished
year, didn't you?
11th in the championship
On the GB motorbike.
Yeah, so
And
it was kind of average, wasn't it? It wasn't
the
horrendous.
bike weren't
but-
the best bike. We're not
No.
slagging Markov and the team. It was a mega team in the end. But
Yeah.
it weren't like the proper Hondas, was
No,
it? Like,
no, not at all.
Yeah.
And we did okay. 11th in the championship, didn't set the world alight, but wasn't shit.
Yeah.
And for the year after, it was like, well, unless you've got at least 50 grand, you ain't getting on a bike. And even at 50 grand, I was getting on something that wasn't capable
Yeah.
of winning anyway.
Yeah.
And I kind of just had enough of it. I was a bit like, well, I haven't got that money. I
Yeah.
got a load of debt. I don't own anything. I didn't have a car. I didn't have a van. I was living in the motorhome that I didn't even own.
Yeah.
I borrowed it. I literally had nothing. I had a load of debt. So I was like, how can I keep racing? Because I just love racing. I like racing bikes. I love it. I can't get
In
enough
blood.
of it. So I'm like, how can I keep racing and not cost myself a fortune?
Or you
And
just
then-
make it free. Yeah, that's what you'd be like.
yeah,
free
or
it.
how can I get a free
Yeah.
ride? And then I was like, oh, maybe I can look at doing something like the TT. So I spoke to Paul Phillips at the TT. He was like, yep, I can sort a load of stuff out. But I already knew Paul Shoesmith. God bless him.
Yeah.
Like, he was a good mate of mine. We'd raced against each other. We'd fallen out. We'd got back friends again. Like, all sorts of things had happened over the years. And he had always brought a lot of newcomers through the TT. You know, Simon Andrews. There was quite a few big riders even now. I think even Dean Harrison rode for him at one
just
point.
showed him the ropes, or just bought him, give him the team.
I think,
the
give him the team to kind of give them the opportunity to like learn and progress on.
Yeah.
So I spoke to him. He was like, yeah, I can sort that out. I'll give you a bike. In fact, I'm buying myself a new bike. You just have my bike. So I was like, perfect. Because I know exactly what Paul's like. His bike would have been mint and everyone else's would have been a bit of a shitter. So if I'm getting his one, ideal for me.
That,
you know, so I got his bike, which is an S1000RR 2014. Well, it'd have been a 13. So I had a 13 bike, but I rode it in 14. He let me take it away for Daz actually to strip it down to nothing. I was like, look, I don't want to be rude, but I want my guys just to give it a once over.
My life's on this bike, mate.
And he was like, do you know what? That's fine. Come and get it, collect it, take it away, do whatever you want. So Daz took it back to his house because he was working for GB Motor still. Okay. So obviously that was actually one of the first times. In fact, it was the first time. At that point, Darren had only ever worked for me. So from 2009-10, when he started helping out with my own team, he'd been my mechanic up until 14 when I didn't have a ride, and he stayed with GB Moto and it was Chris Walker's mechanic.
Oh, okay.
So he stayed, but Mark allowed him to do the roads with myself.
That's cool. So
Daz took the bike home to his house, stripped it to bare frame, and then just rebuilt it again. I did a couple of track days on it. I came here and did an NG road racing club.
Did you win it?
I don't even know if I did. I can't remember.
Shit.
I remember it pissed out.
Somebody needs to find that result, mate. Because if he didn't win it, I need to tell him he didn't win it. I'll get a text in a week.
Yeah, and then that was it. I got. You have to do like a couple of races to be able to get your license, obviously. And because I wasn't racing in BSB, I just came and did a couple of.
When you weren't
events.
racing in BSB that year?
No, I had no ride at all.
Just TT.
Yeah, so I did Northwest. So I had to pay to go to the Northwest.
Your first year at the Northwest as well?
Yeah, it was first year at the Northwest. I finished ninth in my first race on the Thursday in Superstock.
Did that pay you then? The Northwest end?
Do you know what? No. Prize money goes to 8th. I was so annoyed.
One more position.
I finished right behind Guy Martin. Guy Martin was in front.
500 quid.
Probably not even that, but I was super good anyway.
To feed you.
Yeah, but I had to pay my tyre bill and the fuel bill for the week, which was about $3,000 or $4,000 or something. That's what it cost me to go. I had to obviously get my ferry there and back and all the rest of it. But then the TT was all paid for. So it didn't cost me anything. I didn't earn anything, but it didn't cost me anything. Yeah. So tyres were covered, fuel was covered, my ferry there and back was covered. So TT was super cool. And I guess the rest is history because I did the TT.
Where did you finish in that year?
My first race.
I remember in your silver levers with the orange bib in the levers,
that was
wasn't it?
So I finished 14th in the first Superbike race. I did 126 mile an hour in the first Superbike race. I finished 8th in the Superstock race. And then I finished 11th in the senior. Do
you remember the feeling of the first practice session, like when you first went down Bray Hill?
So my first practice session on the Saturday, as it was then.
What year would this have been? Sorry, 14, yeah.
Got up onto the line, literally putting my helmet on. It started to rain, and they cancelled it right there and then. And they wouldn't ride the Sunday. I had to wait till Monday, so I had 48 hours. So I'd literally had all that anticipation and ready to go,
nerves,
everything,
every emotion you could possibly think of.
You got to wait 2 days, not even 1 day, 2 days. Yeah. It was horrendous, but. The first lap's just the first lap's mind blowing, but you follow like a speed control lap. So I was following Milky. It's about 100 mile an hour average ish, somewhere around there. But then you get to go by yourself.
What's that step like? That next step?
Massive,
is it like
massive? Because obviously you know what it's like following someone's easy.
Yeah, well, brake.
Brake, wherever they brake, you brake. Wherever they go, you go. It's dead easy to follow. Even at our level, you put someone fast in front of you, it's just easy.
You're going to do what they do, unless you're having a really terrible time.
You just use them as a gauge, don't you? It's just, and then when that all of a sudden just gets taken away, and like, right, off you go. But it was just epic. Just the place is just phenomenal. Like the only way of describing Ironman TT is unbelievable. That is the only word that comes close, and that doesn't do it justice.
What's the through the trees like for you?
Yeah, the strobe effects and stuff. You get used to it.
And do you sleep after?
Yeah, I do. But I'm like this anyway. I'm like this all the time. I'm like this on the line. I can imagine you on the line. You'd be like on the limiter, wouldn't you?
Mate, I wouldn't go to the TT.
You'd be like,
I'd be like. Yeah.
You'd be bouncing off the trees before you get on the bike.
I'd probably actually be the opposite. I'd probably shit myself.
You
Genuinely,
reckon?
I don't think that.
Do you reckon you'd be quiet for once?
I don't know if I'd be quiet. I think I might. Yeah, I think that'd be the only time you shut me up for an hour or hour and a half, whatever it is. Mind you, I might be going around going,
I reckon that's what you'd be doing. Yeah.
I don't know, honestly. I don't know. I genuinely think though, like me with what we do at BSB, I'm all right with that. But I just think with the Northwest and the TT, yeah, I just never see myself doing it, you know. But you're kind of like indebted, really. You kind of owe a lot to the Northwest TT for that, don't you? Because that pulls you out of your hole as such, if you call it that.
I owe my entire career where I'm sat right now to it. Yeah, absolutely.
Because since then it's kind of like...
Well, since TT, I did 129.1 mile an hour, which until last year when Glenn beat it was the fastest ever newcomer lap.
Yeah.
And then straight after the TT, I had a ride. You know.
What, in BSB?
Yeah, I had a ride in BSB.
What was that then?
So unfortunately for Simon Andrews, lost his life in the
Northwest
in that year, and he was riding for Pence on the roads, but he was riding for the RAF Lee Hardy team in BSB.
Yeah.
And obviously that was super tragic. I was good friends with Simon.
That probably took me off the road racing path.
Yeah,
I was friends with Simon as well,
Yeah.
and I just thought,
like, you know, I've been to Le Mans with him in his motorhome and gone and raced and driven and like.
But we can't express the thing that if, like, Simon, I think actually said to Gary that if I hurt myself, if he come back, he'd probably do the TT again.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, what I mean is he was so passionate about the TT and so passionate about the roads that he would come back again and he'd come back in because that's what he said his life was. And it was tragic what happened.
Yeah, it was super tragic. But the team wanted to continue on. And they wanted a rider, and there was all this buzz around TT and me doing the fastest ever lap and blah 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 blah. And they were like, "Well, how come?" You know, from a public point of view, people going, "How come this kid or this guy?" I was 27 at the time. How come he hasn't got a ride? He should have a ride in BSB. And I think actually even a bit of that helped, and I actually got a bit of help to get that ride with Lee, and then I ended up winning a race.
Yeah, did you that year?
Yeah, so I won at Cadwell in the wet in that year. Beat Shaky by a couple of seconds.
Throw that
I like literally just throw that in there.
Shaky, listen.
Cheers, mate. But like, and then I never looked back. And the next year after, I convinced Lee that we wanted to go to BMW because the Honda was too tired and old and all the rest of it.
So that was on a Honda. Oh,
that was on the Honda. It was RAF Honda, and then we went to Briggs BMW, RAF / Briggs BMW the next year, and I got a couple of podiums. And I went Northwest. I didn't go to the Northwest actually because I broke my neck and
then
back.
Did you go to being paid then at BSB? Like, was you being paid then a salary, and then did it go from like that turn of events?
So the ride didn't. It cost a little bit of money in 14, but I didn't have to pay for it. So it didn't cost me any money. And then whatever sponsorship I got, I just paid off my debt.
That was your box ticked. Like, I've earned money now as such. Yeah.
And it was literally a couple of grand here, a couple of grand there, and I just kept paying my debt off. How it worked was whatever money I got in sponsorship wise, I halved it, and half went to my debt, and I lived on the other half. Even if it was only 100 quid,
it didn't matter.
I lived on that. And that's what I made myself do to try and just pay my debt off. And then the next year with Lee, I didn't get a free ride as such, but I got a little bit of bonus money here and there and all the rest of it. And I had some sponsors, and it just kind of ended up being that I could earn a bit of money for the first time properly. I actually earned a bit of money, and I did the same thing. Northwest didn't happen because I broke my neck and back here in free practice 2 in the rain at the top of Clay Hill, which was really nice.
I don't remember. Remember Kirkham's crash?
Yeah, so
I don't remember that.
I didn't quite do what Kirkham did. I made the left-ish. Well, I made half of the left.
Arthur.
Half a job. And then most people thought I broke my collarbone, but I didn't. I actually broke my neck and back. I punctured my right lung. I broke a couple of ribs at the back and all sorts of stuff. But anyway, I raced the TT.
Hazard.
I raced TT 4 weeks later, which again, which is why no one knew because we didn't really tell anyone.
Yeah.
But I got past medically fit. I did all the correct things. I just did it quietly.
Yeah.
But even then, I did the 8th fastest lap ever at the TT in year 2.
Yeah.
So I did 131.6, I think it was.
Do you remember the feeling like just a bit more confidence on the gas, holding the gas a bit longer, braking a bit later,
just
rolling
more laps.
through? Yeah.
And it was a pretty good year for weather and all the rest of it. McGuinness did his 32.7, 132.7.
Because your style suits it. The way you ride the bike, you're smooth. Like, let's say you don't crash a lot. Like the Silverstone crash was freak. No, but I'm saying touch wood, But what I'm saying is like, I've had a few crashes. You're not like, I'm a little bit loose. You're not loose. The way you ride and the way you ride automatically is smooth, and the bike it moves nicely. Whereas you see, like, let's say Andrew Owen or me, like the bike's moving a lot
more aggressive. Yeah,
and you're not like that, are you?
No, I've never been
like that.
Transfers
over to the roads, I would say.
100%. 100%.
Like when you look at McGuinness, like he's,
yeah,
like everything's
super smooth. Looks like he's not trying, that sort of thing.
And that's the Isle of Man for me.
Yeah.
That's what I see. But
people say it here, they're like, "Oh, you look like you're not even trying." I'm like, honestly, I'm trying my balls off.
Mate,
I'm like biting the screen.
Yeah. Come and have a look.
I'm like, no, that is me flat
that's
out.
Me
being,
full gas, mate.
Yeah, that's me full aggressive.
yeah. You don't look it. Yeah.
I've had it quite a lot, but it's
So
that 15, I actually earned a little bit of money, and I managed to pretty much pay my debt off in 1 year. And I had like 30-40 grand worth of debt, and I managed to like pretty much get rid of it. Then I started to pay for the motorhome that I was living in still.
Yeah.
Because the guy had lent me it for about 5 or 6 years. He's like, it's about time you bought this thing.
Stinks of you in here. Yeah. I'm well happy now.
So I ended up eventually buying that, and then by the end of 15, I had a couple more podiums in BSB. I was right at the sharp end. I had some real good results, not all year, but like here and there and everywhere. I was kind of good, and then I got GB Motor came back. They were then they become the official Kawasaki team, and they put a contract in front of me with a fairly big number for me anyway, next to it saying, come ride for us for the year. That's what you're going to get, plus bonuses, and you can keep all your sponsorship. And I was like, holy
that's
it's a yes from me.
Wait, let me just check my manager. Yeah, sweet mate. I spoke to him. It's all good. Yeah.
So from 14, start of 14, 0 to the end of 15, a factory contract.
No debt.
Sat on the desk with no debt. Nearly bought the motorhome.
Yeah.
Right, in a year and a half. Well, basically a year and just over a year and a half.
It's mad, isn't it? Yeah.
For one reason only, and that was because I went to the Isle of Man TT and I did all right. And I got a good, decent enough BSB ride off the back of it and managed to win a race. And then literally, my career went from doing that to doing that.
And do you remember the conversation with your mum and dad? Like, did you sit them down and go, Dad, or was it a casual phone call? Or
well, when I said I was going to TT, I took them out for food. So they knew there was something wrong.
Did they? Yeah. It's not my birthday.
I was like, I'm gonna book a restaurant and stuff on, I can't remember whatever day, or Tuesday or whatever it was. I was like, I'm gonna book a restaurant. You fancy coming out? And they were like, all right, okay.
Shit, your dad's off. Waiting for this moment.
My dad was doing it. So literally got to we had dessert and everything. I was still not put the I was 27 and I was still shitting myself.
Yeah.
And I was like, and the dad's like, come on then, what is it? And I was like,
actually,
yeah. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, well, what is it? What have you got to tell us? He was like, there's only one reason you brought us out for food.
He knows you, didn't he?
Yeah. He was like, you got something to tell us. And I was like, I've got a ride, and I'm doing the Isle of Man. And he was
Did
like,
you say Northwest first?
No, I didn't even say that. No, because the plan was just Isle of Man. I didn't even think about the Northwest at the time. It was all Isle of Man, and this would have been about January or February
of the 14.
Yeah, of 14. And they were like, all right, well, when are you thinking of doing it? I'm like, this year. I'm like, so obviously you're only kind of 4 months away.
And your dad knows what it takes.
They went, have you been and watched? Have you been out? They knew I'd been and watched the year before. They were like, have you been and have you done any learning or anything like that? Yeah, I'm on the plane tomorrow. I was going the next day to go and do laps in the car and stuff.
Yeah, just go and
So that's that was the conversation.
But he took it well. He
took it a lot better than what I thought he was going to do. Because so my dad didn't want me to race, as we spoke about already. And then I eventually convinced him by buying a bike myself that I needed to race. Pretty much. Anyway, I rode bikes first, then I managed to get racing. But anyway, the one stipulation he always said was, bear in mind I was a kid at the time, he was like, I'll help you as long as you never ever go road racing. He's
Wanker, you've done the dirty on your dad, mate. You're horrible,
I know.
man.
He was like, the day you go road racing, I'll never talk to you ever again. That was his actual words.
Did he talk to you the day after?
He did.
Yeah, how'd you get on?
Yeah.
He probably thought, again, look, if he's doing it, I'm going to help him. And did he give you some advice on it?
Mate, absolutely, yeah.
This will catch you off, or this will catch you out.
Yeah, and he came and he helped set the bike up. Like, my dad's really good with geometry, with chassis, with suspension. He was a proper guru. He was he's come from that era of when they had to make everything work.
Yeah.
He's built chassis. He actually designed his own chassis, fabricated it, and then raced it.
So is he from an engineering background, or is that just what
because of racing? Yeah. Because of racing. So he's come from that background. Like, even a lot of the people in this paddock right now haven't done that.
No.
Because we're production based.
Yeah.
Everything comes as a road bike
and you
done.
go like BMW, I need this, or BMW, I need that.
And you modify it from that point. He actually made stuff.
That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, so he comes from a completely different background, really. And it means that he understands a lot more than what even I do now.
And he understands you as a person as well, which is not
obviously
a bad
understood
thing.
me.
Yeah.
So he came to they didn't come to the Northwest, but they came to the TT, both mum and dad.
Do you remember Like, were they like a bit different? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, 'cause
Yeah,
it's a
there's
different
still
atmosphere.
Yeah,
innit?
they still are now. You know, they come now.
I know, I see them all the time. At the BSB, they come.
Yeah, they're both here now.
It's just a different atmosphere. Innit? Like, you can't. If there's anyone listening who doesn't know anything about the Isle of Man, like, it is the most ridiculous. How many corners look the same that you're approaching?
Yeah, I never have this
Did
feeling.
you just break it into sections without giving you secrets?
No, I just did laps.
And you just get that flow.
Yeah,
and
I've
it's
heard
like
people
flow
say,
state.
"Oh, you know, I drove to the end of there, turned around, come back," and they did it in sections. I never did.
No.
I just did full laps, always radio on, blasting. I didn't even take too much notice necessarily of where I am, what I'm doing, what gear should I be in. I just wanted my theory was when I left school. The day I left school, I went to work. All right, and I rode a push bike to work and back.
What was your job then?
Sheet metal engineering.
Okay, yeah.
Sheet metal engineering initially, and then powder coating. It was all part of the same company, which is now Evotech, believe it or not.
Yeah, that's random, yeah.
Yeah, which is massively in bikes
That's
and,
weird,
and the racing scene and all the rest of it. Yeah, but Evotech, which is Drury Precision Sheet Metal Engineering, that's the company main company name, if you like. But yeah, that's that was who I worked for, and that 3.5 mile. It was only 3.5 miles, but that push bike ride that I did every morning and every night, I did it for years, and then I drove when I passed my test. I then drove it all the time. I thought, well, I never ever took in what the road was or where the bumps were, but I just know, like, even now, if I had to race a bike down there right now, I would race down there. The first go down there, I'd be pretty fast straight away because I just know where I'm going, and I never tried to learn it. Just subconsciously it gets put in, and that was the theory I had for the TT. I was like, I'm just going to go round and round and round. So I did 7 trips, 2 days every time, 5 laps minimum a day. Doesn't sound like a lot, 5 laps, but it takes an hour in a car per lap with normal open road and Manx drivers, which are more dangerous than probably the racing. And so I did like 5 hours a day, just driving around and around, and I did it 7 times. So I've done at least 70 laps in a car before I did it on a bike or anything. I actually did ride it on a bike before I raced it, but it's just not the same.
No, because it's close.
Yeah, I borrowed Milky's ZX6 at the time.
Yeah,
and I did like 3 laps on it, but I didn't really learn anything apart from holy fuck, it's fast.
Yeah, mate. It is mad though, isn't it? And then, like you say, you just like bump, like throttle now. Like, what do you think's achievable around there, like time wise? I guess you can't really answer that question without the weather. I guess you never know what the weather's doing. Bikes are improving. Like, obviously, we've got new BMW this year. Yeah. Everything's coming on every year, isn't it? So it's kind of like, what is really achievable?
The weather's a small part of it, though. So everyone goes, 18 was such a good year because the weather was... Because of that, the lap record happened. And I'm thinking, well, actually, no, because Dean did 133 on night 2. Well, that's with, regardless...
Didn't you do that when he dumped his sump and he hit the bottom of his sump? Didn't you do that?
Yeah,
So I remember that vividly.
But the reason that the lap record happened is because me and Dean pushed each other to it. You win the race at the slowest possible pace.
It's that Dean coming down that bit and that left and it sliding and you was riding it hard, weren't you? Both of you.
Yeah, absolutely. We're both on the limit. And we're both pushing each other. But you win the race at the slowest possible pace. So if you can win it 100 mile an hour average, win it 100 mile an hour average. It's less risk. It's better for you. It's better for the bike. It's better for everything.
But it turns out everyone else is doing.
But that's exactly that. Whatever anyone else is doing is what dictates how fast you have to go. So because me and Dean were pushing each other so far, bear in mind we were a minute and a half in front of third, so it was just me and him pushing each other. That's why the lap record happened. Yeah. And the lap record happened with oil on the track at the bottom of Bigaro, and I must have passed, 7, 8, 10 lap
it wasn't a clear lap, but not
a clear lap at all. I had a few little mistakes myself, and I still did 135.4. So you'd argue 136 was definitely possible on that day, 100%. But then people go, but it's because of the weather. And I'm like, no, that's absolute bollocks. Because the next year, I did 2 laps in practice on the Superbike, and that was it. 2 laps on the Stocker, 2 laps on the Supersport, 2 laps on the Twin because the weather was so bad. And then we went racing. I did 134.2 standing start.
That's sick, isn't it?
With shit weather, no practice, and 2 laps.
What is it like lining up there? What's the favourite bike? Like Supersport must be fun. Superbike without a doubt.
Superbike without a doubt. Yeah. It's the hardest. It's the one that wants to kill you the most. Yeah. But it's also the most rewarding when you get it right. Yeah. And that's why it's the best bike.
What's it like going back through the bikes? Like when you get to the Twin and then go back to Superbike?
Do you know what? So normally the Twin is on the same day as a Superstock race.
And the Superstock race, just for reference, how much slower than the Superbikes a day?
Not that much.
No. Sorry, it's batting you there. I'm like, but it's like a couple mile an hour, isn't it?
Yeah, not even that.
No.
So I had the lap record on the Stocker and the Superbike, and my stock lap record was 134.4, and the Superbike's 135.4, and there's actually only 7.8 seconds between them or something like that.
And the plan to do both this year on the the new BMW.
Yes.
Yeah.
And obviously we've got 2 Superstock races this year because the schedule's changed.
I didn't know that.
So there's 8 solo races this year: 2 twins, 2 Supersports, 2 Superstocks. Yeah. Prize money's gone up as well.
Yeah.
For the first time in quite a while.
Will I get paid if I just start and maybe roll off with a technical?
Maybe.
Maybe I'll have to talk to him about
have
that.
to ring
I
Paul.
might start, but he might not see me complete a lap. Danny Buchan's come here. He's not completed 1 lap. Yeah. I'll be on the phone. Right, mate, you got an invoice? Yeah. Why ain't the money in my bank? Danny, you didn't complete a lap, you wanker.
Yeah. No, they've actually increased the prize money for the first time in quite a long time because normally it keeps going the other way.
The whole thing is just mad. Like, obviously, you got people saying, you need to ban it. It's like, mate, we know what we're doing. We know what risk we're taking. It's a show. It's the revenue it brings to the island. The show it puts on, and I'm really pleased to see that the Isle of Man TT are really pushing the social media because it's a spectacle, mate. Like it is like that lap. What you do, obviously, when you talk through the lap, you've probably talked through it well over 500 times now. Probably, but it is a special lap. Like, and when I watch that, I understand bikes, I race bikes, and usually you watch things like that and you think, it's just another bike video, but you watch that. Like, if you go on the shoulder cam with MotoGP, it doesn't look that fast. Yeah. That bloody lap. Looks ridiculous. Yeah, is it on YouTube, is it?
Yeah, it is on YouTube.
You've got guys, if you listen,
so there's a couple. There's the lap record laps on YouTube, and then there's also, I've got a chin camera lap.
That's the one.
So that's actually quite a slow lap, and that's just a demo lap. So that was on the HP4 race, BMW, which was in 2017. So I'd not even won a race at that point. And that was one of the demo laps we did on that bike that was brand fire new, so I was quite steady at the start. I was super slow, like 3/4 bridge. I was bedding brakes in and the tyres and everything. It was like brand new. Yeah. But that was about 118 mile an hour average, and that YouTube video is like gone mental on YouTube. But isn't even that fast, but it looks ridiculous. And like people, because you've got that kind of, it's really immersive how because it's on the chin of the camera of the helmet, you're really getting the movement of the bike going around and how close everything is.
And when you're like leaning and then you've got the bike coming and then it's wheeling and then it's
mega, isn't it? It's just so cool. What I'm going to try and do, if TT allow me to do it, I've managed to get a camera that will sit about here on my chin piece. So it's not in my way, because the problem with the one that we did have is that you couldn't get tucked in. I actually sat up deliberately so you could see the dash and all the rest of it. I never actually got tucked in, but I found a solution, shall we say?
Yeah, I've got a solution.
Which means I could actually do a practice lap. And what my plan is, I would like to do a plus 130 mile an hour practice lap with that camera on, basically for the same view that I've done already. And I think that will absolutely blow people's minds because, I watched that video back. I'm like, I'm so slow.
I know, but everyone else watched it, and you're like,
yeah. So like, if I can get that immersive feeling from a practice lap and put that on YouTube, I think it will literally blow people's minds.
What I'd like to know is like, when you race short circuit, you have that element of like, I'm in the zone, and you do fall out of it sometimes. Like something will take you, there's a yellow flag, or there's this, there's that, but like when you're in that zone in the TT, you can't afford to get out of it. You wouldn't let yourself get out of it because it'd probably be physically impossible to get out of the zone. Like, what is that like to finish? Like, let's say a whole week of racing. Like, do you just go home and you're like, yeah, well, that was good, or do you go, fucking hell, I need a beer, or mate, I need to smoke a joint, or I don't know what you need to do. But do you just is it just whack you mentally?
Yeah, but it's interesting because I think you keep yourself up for the entire 2 weeks. It's always after the scenic, like.
I can just imagine a big emotional dump.
Massive, massive. Like, I can't explain how much of a high it is to do a race there on a superbike and finish a race. No matter where you finish, like even just finishing, the feeling that it gives you is unbelievable.
You just go
well, you don't even do that at the end. You're buzzing so much for 2 or 3 hours afterwards. Like the adrenaline's still running through you, and then when it does go, you absolutely nosedive and crash. Yeah,
I can imagine that.
So even after the senior, I don't mind a bit of a party. I don't mind that, but I always struggle on the night after the senior. Even last year when we won, I think I went to bed at either 12 or 1 o'clock. I wasn't that late because I was just absolutely drained.
I get that because after a BSB, let's say after Cadwell, one last year, you go it's so mega, and then you start driving home and you're just it's
you're just slowly calming down.
Though, and I think because all weekend, let's say with BSB perspective, all weekend you build yourself up, practice, qualifying, race, done. But the TT, it's 2 weeks, isn't it?
2 weeks of it, yeah.
And it's and I just think that's.
And it's intense, yeah.
And what's it like lining up like for the race? You just think, fucking, let's go. Like,
Let's have it.
Let's just say, so you literally go off the start, first brand new tyres, full tank of fuel, first, second, third, fourth, fifth down Bray Hill, or do you sixth? Top. So you go fifth,
top by
sixth.
St Ninians.
So then you drop down the hill in sixth, and you're fully tucked in sixth, and you roll at the bottom for
a small roll at the bottom, but it's not really.
Fuck, that's mental. Mate.
But it's not that bad on the bike.
Makes my bum twitch thinking about it.
So watching it, like I haven't actually stood there and watched.
I watched it first place. I watched that trip when you was there.
But like I've seen the videos. And I watch the videos and go, holy. It looks ridiculous, but when I'm sat on the bike, it doesn't feel like that. And I'm like, you're not even leaning over that much. But I watch the video, I'm like, fucking, you're leaning over loads. But on the bike, it doesn't feel like that.
I was going to say that, yeah.
The first proper corner you come to is Quarter Bridge.
Yeah.
For me, like you go to top St Ninians, top of Bray Hill, down through the left. You got to hang out because of the road ends, and wherever there's a road end, there's a jump. So you want to stay away from them. Go past the third one, flick to the left, then you can drive through the bottom. Yeah, that big jump over Agos. Another little one, looking for the White House, and then once you've kind of braked and then got all the way down to Quarter Bridge, that's your first corner to me. That's what I think is your first. That's the first time you hit the brakes. That's the first time you've actually properly slowed down.
Yeah.
And then you've got Braddon Bridge after that.
You're still trying to get through that as quick as you can.
Yeah, but I always kind of be careful.
First lap.
Like, it's first lap, first right-hander. Your tyres are not just fully up to temperature yet. Yeah. So you're just nice and steady through the first one. Roundabouts are always slippy. So obviously you've not done the Northwest yet.
Overused from the
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Or whether there's always a bit of fuel down because trucks getting tipped. Or I don't know. I don't know what it is. But roundabouts are always slippy as hell. I don't know why, but they are. So first one's always roundabout. Second one's roundabout at Braddon. So that's your first kind of left. Once you've gone left and flick right, then for me, then the track starts.
The TT starts.
Yeah. It's kind of like get through that. Yeah. Right. Tyres are scrubbed in. Done one right. Or done two rights, one left. I'm like, right, we're done. Crack on, and then the first proper corner is Snugborough after that, and it's a 6th gear left-hander. It is proper.
People stand on the inside?
So they used to. They used to, and they've stopped people from standing there, and I don't really know why, because it's an epic corner to stand at.
We got close, didn't we? When we was in that field. Yeah. We was right on the curb, weren't we? That was mental.
Ace.
But like the trust, obviously they used to have the GoPros, people hitting GoPros. You just think people obviously now they're a bit more aware, aren't they? Like, make sure you don't have a GoPro, make sure you do this, make sure you do that.
And they put it over the tannoys and over the radio and stuff like that.
Livestock,
it's in the programs.
2 fields back
now.
That's the one. Mad, isn't it? Yeah. The whole event's good. I'm going to come over this year actually for the senior day. So I'll be over there, mate, cheering you on. in and out trip.
Let's get you doing a pit bod.
Yeah, that's what everyone else has said that.
Get you doing pit bods.
Yeah. But obviously you still love BSB.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And people
keeps you sharp.
Yeah, it does. It keeps you sharp.
Bit of a trend now, isn't it? Like Harrison, even Dunlop comes and does it.
I think a lot of the instigation for that, I think, not being big-headed, I think is myself, because I kind of turned up at the TT as a BSB rider, and then have done all right, and then I keep doing BSB, and I'm at the front of BSB. Not all the time, I know, but I'm generally at the front of BSB, and people are going, we need to do what he's doing to be able to compete with him. So Dean's coming across, Lee Johnston's doing more. Hutchie was doing more. Obviously, he's not fit at the minute, but when he was fit, he was coming and doing some more, doing Superstock and at the front of Superstock. Dunlop's even doing a little bit. He's in Superbike this weekend. When was the last time he was riding a Superbike?
Yeah,
in BSB. He doesn't normally do it, but he is this time because he wants to get himself sharp, ready to try and compete at the Northwestern TT.
It's mad, isn't it, the whole thing. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna move you on now because that was really good. But I'm going to talk about. I have got this section of the podcast called Track Review. I haven't got anything fancy about it. It's just a track review. Danny Buchan's track review. So it's basically just an insight for the fans or people listening. So first of all, your favourite track.
I don't really have a favourite. I don't. Because I feel like if you have a favourite, then you definitely have least favourites.
I do. I have a favourite, and my worst is Mallory Park.
All right,
I'm saying it here. If we ever race there, I'll be shit there because I hate it.
But that's the thing. Yeah. If you don't like something, then you're already beaten before you start. Yeah. And I enjoy riding bikes that much that even if we go to a shit circuit, I still kind of enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I don't have a favourite as such. No. However,
what do you enjoy riding around the most?
Alton Park's one of them. Cadwell's another one, and Thruxton.
Okay, and what's your most memorable moment if you pick one at one of them circuits?
Probably Thruxton for leading my first ever BSB race.
Yeah, and what year would that have been?
2011.
That's cool, yeah. What was you riding?
Tyco Honda it was. So the first time Tyco came into the paddock was with Ian Woolacott.
Yeah.
So
Is that when they did the chrome livery one?
Yeah,
That's
that one.
cool.
Yeah.
I'm not going to
Yeah,
mention
yeah.
the story.
Yeah, you
I
are.
know you're loving it though. Alright, I've got to mention the
That
story
was the
now.
end. That was the end of
We'll
the
talk
year.
about that in a
It
minute.
was chrome at the end of the year.
Oh, okay.
For a couple
when
of
that
races.
incident happened.
Wednesday.
Alright, we'll talk
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
Favourite part of the track, if you're picking the track?
Thruxton. Let's go with Thruxton then, just because it's different. I'm going to go the bit over the back. So what's it called?
I know, I forgot it
Before
earlier.
church.
Me and Andy was just talking about you
Yeah.
giving him the fingers.
Yeah, giving him the fingers. That bit there. That's my favourite bit.
The finger bit.
Yeah,
He
the
must
finger
be
bit. So you go through the
confident.
left. I think it's called Nobles. You go through the left is Nobles, and then you flick into the right. Might be good.
He must have really pissed you off, because you're not really an aggressive guy, and he must have really pissed
He
you
did
off
piss me
for
off.
you to flick the fingers.
Yeah, he did piss me
mid-race.
Yeah.
It's quite hard action to do, actually. He must have thought, peace, man. Yeah, sweet. He must have thought you was asking him for peace.
Yeah, especially
I want peace.
150 mile an hour as well. It's
He actually mentioned earlier that he rammed you, and then you give him the fingers.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
He said it wasn't even that bad.
And that's what pissed me off, because I knew that's what he was thinking.
Yeah.
But basically, the backstory is this, right? I'd passed him through the chicane before, the complex before. You go right, left, right. So as we go through the left, I'd gone round the outside of him, ready to be on the inside for the next right.
This bit, yeah.
So I got inside of the right, and I went in a little bit deep, and I'd run a little bit wide on the exit, and he nicked back underneath me, and I was like, "Yep, fair dues, all right." I was in too deep, so I was like, "Right." So 2 laps later, I did the exact same move, but I absolutely stopped, turned, and stopped him from coming through, and the little fucker rode through me instead. Yeah. So I blocked the line.
Don't sound like him.
So, and instead of him then rolling the gas, which is what he should have done, because I'd already blocked him.
So you was there, yeah.
He just went,
yeah,
whatever, mate.
Yeah.
And he hit my bars out of my hand, and I nearly crashed, and I hit the floor, and it kind of caught back again. I was actually quite lucky. The camera doesn't. Yeah, the camera doesn't really show it. You kind of see me sit up, but I had a full tuck on the bars because he pushed it that far that it hit the lock stop. And basically went down, and it caught, and I was like, "You little fucker!" I knew I'd done enough to stop. Yeah. Well, it wasn't even that. It was that next corner
so it was actually then
that I drilled him straight away. Yeah. I was like, "Well, you're fucking having it. I am passing you, whether I hit you or not.
Whatever happens."
Yeah. So we got to the next left. I went straight round the outside, and as we flick over, I was like, "I'm just drilling you." I didn't use any brakes. I just went straight in, and I didn't touch him. I passed him clean actually, and made the apex. And I was like, "Joe."
Yeah, he did.
And it was because I think the extra bit that pissed me off is he hit me and then put his hand up to say sorry, and I was like, "You're not fucking sorry."
You're not sorry. Yeah, that's literally brilliant. That's Is that your most memorable moment of that circuit?
Yeah, I think it probably is.
And any tips for any track day riders going there? Not that they do track days there.
Yeah, they don't do track days there so much.
So we ain't going to answer that then.
No, but for track days in general, especially if it's your first track day, take your time. Yeah. Don't book yourself in the fast group or the intermediate group, even if you think you're awesome.
Everyone's friendly.
Yeah, everyone's friendly, and if you're too fast for a group, they'll move you up anyway.
And
so
don't stress about going.
Don't run before you can walk. That's the best thing. Chill out, start at the bottom, work your way up.
No, we haven't got away from the whole flipping the bike situation. The
You did remember.
Yeah, come on, let's just tell us what happened. Talk us through it from your point of view.
Yeah, so
hang on, tell us what really happened.
What really
Can you come clean on this podcast?
Yeah.
Breaking news.
The breaking news. Yeah, so at the final round of that year, 2011, I was riding for Taika Honda, Ian Woolcott's team. We decided to do a one-off livery. We made the bike completely chrome.
Looked lovely.
Yeah, so it was white for the rest of the year with the blue on. Yeah, we went full Essex. Full chrome fairings, but with the blue in it. It looked really cool. I finished both the races. I went through the gravel actually at turn 1, and I actually shit myself as I went through the gravel, thinking, "No, I'm going to break the fairing."
Paddock is not a
it was at Paddock. I went through the gravel.
That's deep.
Yeah, and I managed to stay on it. I was like, "Oh, I didn't break the fairings. Well done." Anyway, got to the end of the race. Obviously, final round of the race. I always do big wheelies anyway. A bit of a crowd pleaser. I like a wheelie.
Big wheelie.
Yeah, so I did big wheelie all the way down the back straight. I'm like, yeah, mint, all good. And then all weekend, I've been coming out of Surtees, and I was getting a bit cockier, and I was actually picking the bike up on the side of the tyre, so I'd come off the corner, still leant over, wheeling.
As you go through the cage.
As you go up over the top. So I'd kind of pick the bike up, and I was stood right up over the top of it with the bike leant underneath me, and then I was turning the steering to look at the cameras, basically just styling it up, you know, as you do.
If Instagram was even busy there, that would have been a gram shot.
So I'd done it all weekend, right? And then on that race, I'd picked the bike up, and I obviously got a bit more cocky, and I got it right up already, and I was already at the balance point before I got to the top of the hill. And as I turned the steering and looked on that bike, the way that the throttle worked was it went into like a servo motor at the back of the dash. So the throttles were only probably about 12 inches long, something like that. And sometimes, if you on that bike when they rebuilt it, every time it was slightly different. The cable was slightly tight. So if you got to the full lock stop, it opened the throttle slightly. And it happened actually, I should have known, because it happened on the grid. Because when I rolled to the grid, I was a bit offline. Yeah, and I turned kind of left and then right as I turned onto the grid. And it went wham in front of everyone. And everyone was like, what did you do that for? And I was like, no, that wasn't me.
That's me psyching you out.
Yeah, that was the bike doing it. But anyway, you never get there when you're racing. So it's like, it never made any difference. However, it made a difference at that point because I was already at the balance point.
Speed?
Not that fast.
It's got to be 100 mile an hour still, though, isn't it? 90 mile an hour, 100 mile. It's got to be, isn't it? Coming out of there.
I would have thought 70, 80. I would have thought. Yeah, somewhere around
I'll give you a bit more.
But already bang on the balance point, so I had no way of saving anymore. Anyway, I literally all there looked at the camera, went like that, and it went yang from underneath me. And I was like, I was covering the back brake, but not a chance. I was already off before I'd even realised what had happened. Yeah. And the bike did a full, as I let go of it, it was upside down and on the limiter, because obviously the throttle just went as it disappeared. No. And it absolutely destroyed itself.
What did the team say when you got back?
Yeah, they weren't very happy.
Well,
they thought I'd run out of fuel, and I should have stuck to that story until I could have got away, because that's what I should have done.
Until they saw the picture and...
No, I came clean straight away. I was like, I'm really sorry. Like, I was doing a wheelie, it flipped. I don't know what happened.
Check the data.
Yeah, I was like, all of a sudden it was just like bang. It just went from underneath me. I don't know. And when they checked the data and it confirmed that I asked for 20% more throttle while I was already at balance point. Well, obviously I didn't, because nobody would ever do that.
That is mad.
They were like, it says 20% more throttle.
So you could have been like, if you was as good as Biaggi, you could have.
I could have saved
that
it.
back,
Could have saved it.
Who was the other one that did it? Biaggi and Caparossi, was it?
Did Poggiali not flip one at Czech Republic?
And who?
On the 250.
Did Bautista flip one as well?
Oh, Bautista
did one, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he might have flipped it.
No.
Yeah. That was that. It might have been Bautista at Czech Republic.
That actually did it, didn't it? On the 250.
Yeah, I think he did a full flip, didn't he, after the race?
Yeah, that is it. That is the one. We're gonna have to confirm that, aren't we?
Yeah.
Right, we've got part of the podcast as well. The other section, the quiz.
The other section.
So this is 5 questions I put together, and it's really hard because I have to obviously put them together for each guest individually, and I know that your knowledge is probably quite good because if you did NEC Bike Show, that's how I know it's quite good. Yeah, and that's the reason. So I'm going to ask 5 questions.
Go for it.
Most successful TT winning manufacturer?
It's got to be Honda.
Honda is. I don't know how many wins they had. I could tell you that.
A lot. When did they start? 1950?
I don't know. I just
53, 52.
I should have actually got the answer to that.
Or 60s. Might have been 60s.
In what year did Foggy do the 123.6 mile an hour lap?
I'm going to say... Ooh, that is a tough one. Early 90s it was. I'm going to say 90... What was it? What was the lap?
123.6. That was the fastest lap at the time.
1992.
Don't know, I haven't got the answer. Ben, find me the answer. This is bad for my part because I did this earlier. I think, but that's it then.
Because that was the time.
No, we'll go with it, mate. That's it.
Because Hizzy won the race, and I think Foggy got that record.
Right. How many BSB race wins did Gregorio Lavia have?
Oosh.
That's
a lot. How long did he race in BSB?
Not a clue.
Do you know what? He wasn't in
Not
BSB
very knowledgeable, me, mate.
Yeah, I'm going to say 80 odd.
22.
Was that? Oh, yeah, so it was a lot less then.
Yeah, it's a lot less, isn't it? Considering they would have 2 races as well then, wouldn't they?
It was 2 races, but and about 12 rounds. But that's what I say. His career probably wasn't that long in BSB. Yeah,
he loved Fruxton, didn't he? He was the dominant.
Yeah, he was fast there. Yeah.
He was the
he stood in for James Hayden at the time. That's how he got the ride. Okay. Hayden got injured. He jumped on the bike at Thruxton. Okay. Yeah, won both races or something like that. And then the team was like, I think we're going to keep you.
Have you been here before?
Yeah, it was something like that anyway.
Have you been to the big circle? What was Steve Plater's first TT win?
Oh, man.
You've got to give some shit back to him, mate. The guy's got a perfect opportunity of your show, hasn't he?
Yeah, he had me a lot last
So you could have said then, did he even win a TT?
Yeah, did he win one?
No, yeah.
He would have been 2009-ish.
08.
Oh, God,
on what bike?
H-Implant.
On what CC?
Honda 1000.
600.
Oh, was it 600?
No, 600.
Oh, because he did win a senior though.
I don't know. It might have been that week. people listening like, this geezer's got no idea. I literally am so shit with knowledge questions. I'm really shit with the history of racing because when I come into it, all I'd known up until that point was motocross, and then it's like, oh, all right, there's this other world, and then people are in this paddock I don't know about. Anyway, what speed did your dad do round the TT in 1977 when he won?
Not a clue.
No.
I think his best lap was something like 104 mile an hour.
Well, this one in 1977 was 99.95.
So that would have been the race speed.
Oh, okay. So he actually.
Yeah. So that's including the pit stop.
Oh, okay, yeah.
As well, yeah. So probably, about 104
yeah, that's
would have been about right, yeah.
Well, that's it then, mate. Done really well there.
Not too bad.
To be fair, better than me asking him. Have you got the answer to that second one, the Foggy one?
Yeah, when did Foggy do the lap?
He's on it. In what year did Foggy do the 123.6 mile an hour lap round the TT? Look at Google Finger. He's on it.
Google Finger.
Come on, Google Finger. Give it to me. And what's the end goal then, anyway? So what's the plans? What's the plans?
Win every race from now until the end of my career.
When's that? 40? Because, mate, people are proving. Seeley, 40 years old, still doing all right.
Yeah,
Brooksy, 40, still
yesterday,
doing all right.
Yeah.
Bautista, 40, still doing all right. So
hopefully I can keep going. That's the plan.
And that's it, isn't it? Like,
do you know what? As long as I'm enjoying it,
and competitive,
and fast, then all good. But then even if I'm not super fast, but I'm enjoying it, I'll probably still carry on because I like racing bikes. Yeah. You know, and road racing, I could probably look at Rutter and
Williams.
McWilliams. I mean, what's McWilliams now? 55,
It's got to be 60 odd, isn't he?
And he's still
racing. If you listen to that, I'm only joking. No, but generally,
he's super competitive, super fast. All right, but not if he came here and did BSB. But you can still go and compete.
We were talking about that, like with Foggy. It was like, or was Tozen. It's like. It's so different now because like people like you're a specialist at the TT, you're a specialist at BSB, but then it's like if a World Superbike rider comes to TT, it'd be so hard for them because they're so good with the bikes and the packages they race, and it's like if someone comes from the MotoGP,
and if people don't understand, like obviously I did 2 World Superbike rounds last year. One was on the FHO bike, but the electronics didn't work how they should have worked, and then the second meeting where I did Most in Czech Republic, circuit I'd never been to before. I didn't know the bike. Honestly, it's the same bike as what I race in BSB.
It's weird,
but completely different.
And you go in and you're like,
it may as well have been a Honda.
It feels different. Buttons are different.
It was that different because the electronics change how the bike feels and like how they ride compared to how we ride. Right, you would not do what they do on a Superbike. You could not do on a BSB bike because you would be over the fence at turn 1.
Is this literally off the brake?
As soon as you're off the brake, you are 100% throttle. That's how they ride. It is absolutely. Like so alien. It took me all weekend to even get near doing it, and I still wasn't doing it.
You got to have balls because look at Vandermark, that crash he had the other day.
Yeah, but that's because I don't know what the actual scenario was, but it looked like an electronic failure because how he crashed shouldn't have.
Bit odd.
Yeah,
and he was high.
But it would have been at the point where he just let go of the brake, and he would have been 100% throttle, 100%. So for me, it looked like some sort of failure somewhere. I don't know what for sure, but it's such a different way of riding.
Yeah, it's mad,
You know, and I've been lucky enough to experience a bit of that, even last year, and go and ride that World Superbike, and I did all right. Most scored a couple of points. I was about second and a half a lap off what Scott did, and Scott was super fast there. It's super technical track.
And they're already up to speed. That's the hardest thing.
Yeah,
people were going about wildcards. Like, if you're wildcarding at round 1, it's probably it's not as bad as end of the year, man.
Not only that, in modern times, Superbike racing has got less and less track time. The bikes have got more complicated and they give us less time. So I had a 40-minute free practice 1, 40-minute free practice 2, straight into qualifying. That was it, done.
With a qualifying tyre?
Yeah. Like complete,
this is soft.
Yeah, whereas back in the day, it used to be 4 hours worth of practice. There was 1 hour practice, 1 hour free practice 2, then a 1 hour qualifying 1, 1 hour qualifying 2.
Imagine that now, we'd be going, this is too much, right? This is shit.
But so the bikes have got more complicated and they're giving us less time to figure them out.
Yeah.
So wildcards back in the day had more of a chance of being closer to the other guys than what you do now.
I didn't know that. I didn't know there was more track time before. Obviously, I assumed.
Even when I started, so 2006, 1 hour free practice 1, 1 hour free practice 2, and then 2 1 hour qualifying sessions.
Mad, isn't it? Yeah.
That's how it was.
Yeah. So that's why they did better.
Yeah, that's why.
It's not because of me.
There was so much track time. Now,
even if you've got a day testing, even if you've got a day on the Superbike, World Superbike, get yourself up to
just
speed,
somewhere.
That would have been mega.
Yeah. It makes such a difference.
My reference always is the last bike I ride. So if I ride my bike today, let's say I rode a Honda today, when I get back on it, so I'll have an alright day today, but when I get back on it tomorrow, that's my last bike I've ridden, and that's how I always did it. Like, the last bike I've ridden is the one I remember. Yeah. So I'd be like, yeah, this is mega, it's the last bike I've ridden. So that's kind of like my thing. So, but yeah, like you say, like, you're trying to adapt to the electronics package, then go fast, then learn the track. Like,
there were so many variables. Like, that track is super complicated. It's like 21 corners. It's like, if I'd have gone to Jerez, it would have been much easier.
Somewhere that you knew.
Somewhere that
Donington.
I knew. Yeah, Donington would have been better. Like, it's just, And not only that, you're racing against the world's best. Yeah. And they are on the pipe immediately. Outlap. They are on it straight away.
That's quite cool though, isn't it? I like that as well, because that's like, when you go club racing to BSB paddock, it's kind of, that people are like, fucking hell, they literally are on the pipe straight away. They get down to within a few like temps. And that's what it's like here, isn't it? Like, obviously today, what was the track like this morning for you?
Bit slick.
But the times are always relative to what the weekend's saying, anyway. Isn't
Usually,
it? Like, okay, we did like 33.8s or 33.7s in the race last year in the September one, but it's different.
It's always different. So from 2 weeks ago when we did the test to now, the track's changed.
Yeah, because and even though like people might not know, but like the fact that it sits over winter, right, has cars and stuff.
It goes green. Completely changes. Or if you have a car event here before we come, or after, or a bike, it's just,
if there's rubber down, and there's rubber not down. It's quite interesting actually, isn't it? And I think people are quick to judge and say, oh yeah, but it's BSB, you don't read all that. But it is, when you're talking about like tenths of a second, it is all of that accumulated, isn't it? Did we find a date? Have we got a time?
You got it?
92.
92?
Boom! I said 92.
I don't know.
Because I'm sure Hizzy won the race and Foggy got that record. I think that was the compromise between them.
And how many TT races have you won? I should know.
9.
That's mega. And you got them all in the front of the motor, haven't you?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so I got most of them. They're not all, but most of them. Yeah.
So that's it then. You are gonna get there, mate. Absolutely smash it up. Big yips, few wins. Have you got another? Is there an extra race for the Superbike Senior, or is it just one?
No. So there's Superbike race and Senior. So 2 Superbike races. 2 stock races, 2 Super Sport, 2 Super Twin.
And how's that going to be as well? Like a bit more physical? Because obviously it's not an easy, mate. Sitting on the bike for that long.
Yeah, maybe, but it's not so bad.
And I guess when you're efficient, it's not. Cause like when you ride, some people ride motocross and they're not efficient at all. But when you're really efficient on a motocross bike, it's not as tiring. Like, oh mate, I'm knackered across.
And that smoothness that we were talking about earlier.
And how you ride,
means that
looks
I
easy.
Conserve energy.
That's why it's easy, mate.
That's why it's easy.
Yeah. Well, mate, thanks for coming on. Obviously, I hope you have a mega weekend this weekend.
You do.
Gutted not to be out there bashing bars.
Fingers crossed you'll be ready for Donington. Is that the plan, Donington?
That's the plan, Donington.
2 weeks?
Yeah, a little bit smashed up, but
3 weeks, is it?
3 weeks, I don't know.
Yeah, because I've got Northwest in between, but there's a weekend off in between. So
it's weird, because I actually don't feel physically...
bad.
I feel alright, but it's what it is.
Fingers crossed for you, mate.
Yeah, mate, everyone, wishing you luck, obviously, for the Northwest, for the TT. And, thanks for coming on the podcast, guys. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Hope you've enjoyed. Anything you want to ask this guy, we're getting back on. And, good luck, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Fist bump like that. I was like, no.
What do I do with my hair?
Cheers, guys.
Danny Buchan, what a ride this is, and it is